Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Should have some interesting things today. Don't know why it's dark. Doesn't make sense. How come you guys are dark on me? Chat. Here we got the chat. Let's make sure this is right. Okay, I think we're all set. There we go. Hey, Bill. Bill, how's it going? I see you. Yeah. I think I figured out the problem with the microphone. It's a weird, just bizarre. When you hear my explanation, whatever. Awaken One, Raven, good to see you. Bill, are you doing okay? Down in Georgia. Awaken One, Stephen. Awaken One, Mad Jax, good evening, good rising, spiritual rock star. All right. Vive. Vive de coup. Laura. All right, we got this. Karen, Jason, Stephen. Hey, Stephen. Gary. What's up, family? Yo. Yep. Gloria. All right. Okay, so I just want to just touch on the microphone situation. And maybe somebody can figure out why this is occurring, but the only difference between last night and today and every other time I've ever broadcast is that my camera last night, I set it way back. And I'm thinking, could it be that the Sony camera is picking up, because it has a microphone, is somehow picking up sound? I don't know. And that maybe this is acting as a monitor. I don't know what the situation is, but it was really weird that it wasn't working well last night. Yeah, the mic's fine. I mean, but I think it has to do with more with the my camera than the mic. At any rate, we'll get to some cool intel. I want to just briefly. Gosh, why is this going dark? What's with you guys, man? I'm about to get a piece for the camera that I think will help us with this situation with the dark and light and all that stuff. That should be coming in today. So I'm working on the video. I'm working on the audio, and hopefully everything will be better than ever. Better than before. Yesterday's gone, right? Is the Matrix, right? Matrix. So my conclusion, I just finished my video. I was late. Usually I like to make it earlier, but we're leaving the Matrix. We are leaving Mitzrayim. We are leaving Egypt. We are leaving the narrow place. We're leaving the place of our own constricted negative thinking. But we're not in the promised land yet. And that's where we're holding. We're in between leaving slavery and coming into the promised land. Now, remember, the Jews hung out in the desert for 40 years before they came into the promised land. And then they snuck in the back door. Remember my song, The Winds of Jericho, talks about how, the spies crawled in through the window and they met, I think it was Rakhov, the most seductive woman in the universe, and I think Yeshua ended up marrying her later. But anyway, they were coming to the promised land, and then they were ready. Moses couldn't go because if he had gone, it would have signaled the age of Mashiach, the end. They weren't quite ready. The humanity was not ready for that in that time. I mean, maybe they were in some degree, but we had to go through a few things in the last 3,000 years or so, right? A few little things, a few minor corrections. So I just want to briefly comment on SGAnon's file 44. I know we probably talked about it last night. I don't even remember last night. I was out of sorts because I was struggling with the microphone. But, and forgive me for I was a little testy. I was a little nervous about the whole thing. It kind of freaked me out. So SGAnon, just that we have the power. It's up to us, and the evil ones cannot defeat us. They've tried and tried and tried. They want to reduce our ranks, but it ain't happening, man. We need to wake up to our own magnificence, our own beauty, our own power, our own abilities, and venture forth with that. Go into the struggle knowing that we are much more powerful than we've been led to believe. We've been kept down for many thousands of years by an evil force that's been telling us how, they don't like us. So they obviously have been treating us like they don't like us. They try to poison us, and through our food, through our medicine, through our education, through the bank system. I mean, they're doing everything. By the way, the last I looked, the stock market was down about 600 points, which is pretty big considering that it went down about wasn't it like 1,000 points last week. So yeah, the dead cat bounce wasn't much. You heard about Moses crossing the Red Sea. It took 40 years to get them out, stuck in the mud, right? Yeah, that's pretty funny, man. All right, I got to put, yeah. The splitting the sea was pretty quick, man. It was hanging out in the desert, and you know what it was? They had to really clean up their attitude. The main problem, it seemed that a lot of the problem was just a problem in really accepting God, really knowing that God was in control, and trusting their prophet Moses, learning to trust Moses. And most of them were on board, but I don't know. I think we really need to all be on board and all be with gusto. All be like backing, whoever Moses is, the leader. I mean, if it's Mr. T, if whoever it ends up being, that we need to have faith that God chose him. I mean, actually, I don't even want to get into this, but just have faith that God knows what He's doing. He doesn't make so many mistakes. It's not like people. But anyway, yeah, the liberation is restoring the world. It's really all of us coming together with all. I mean, that's why this particular family is so important, because we have people of all different faith. We have Noahide people. We have Hasidic Jews here. We have Christians. We have Buddhists and Muslims. We have all a whole array of different people from all over the world, and we all agree to disagree. We don't have to agree on every point, but we do agree that we have to stay together in defeating this horrific, ridiculous the enemy. I'm not 100% about Trump being Messiah, but whatever you want to believe, is your stuff. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We don't even have to agree on that at this point, but he is certainly he is certainly fighting the wars of God. I mean, there's no question about it. Now, he and the White Hats. So anyway, so SGAnon is just talking about how much more powerful we are than we recognize. And what I got, there was apparently a big McCloikus with my friend Mel and Captain Kyle were arguing or I don't think they were even arguing. They were just having a discussion with 107, and I thought it was very interesting. I saw a little bit of it, and I think what I got from it was that they were kind of disagreeing on the time sequence. So we have to be careful. A lot of the people who follow the Intel channels, we have to be careful about our time. I mean, 17 has taught us that through the last couple of years. We cannot assume, okay, it's good. We have this done. We did this, and now it's time. Even the Rebbe was like, we polished all the buttons. We did all the tshuva. We came back to God, and I don't know what's holding up Messiah. But that's what the Rebbe said, and so too with us. I mean, with with the community of godliness, of mankind. We want things to happen already. But what 107, I think, was saying, I think the main point I got out of what he was saying is that Mel and Captain Kyle were saying, okay, let's do it already. We got this. And 107 said, we're not just going to move into flying cars like next, tomorrow afternoon, we're going to roll out the flying cars. We need infrastructure. We have to build, we have to plan, we have to do everything. It takes time. And I think that's really an important point and something we need to keep in mind, that last night there was a video that said V for Vendetta, and I didn't see the movie. He said everything is happening out of that movie. Everything is like scripted from that movie. And that's what Magic Eyes Only on Rumble always, he always uses V for Vendetta as his kind of like basic script. So remember the 5th of November, I think is something important. Now, does that mean that the EBS cannot happen tomorrow afternoon? It could. I personally don't see it, but I mean, this could happen in any way. And I'm just, I'm a researcher. I'm a nobody, really. I mean, I'm just another person. I don't have, I'm not a prophet. I'm not, I don't privy to, I don't have a mentor. I just go on my gut and Torah, a little Torah knowledge that I have. And, I just try to piece together the pieces of puzzle. But it seems to me, and I've said this a million times, that it has to come from us. We can't eat the bread of shame. If you're sitting at the rich man's table and you're enjoying your custard eclair, and you're thinking to yourself, this is really delicious, but I didn't really earn this. I really didn't do any work to really deserve to be sitting here amongst all these famous people and fabulous people. I'm just saying, but that we don't want to be like that. We don't want to just be given the redemption. We don't want to just, God took the people out of Egypt, out of the matrix, because they were stuck and there was no other way to get them out. But I believe we are coming, we are working towards being out of the matrix. A lot of us have woken up, people are waking up, but we haven't come into the promised land yet. So it's, we came out of Egypt, we came out of the matrix. We understand that, your doctor doesn't necessarily have, I don't think the doctors are by and large evil, but they are, they are supported, they are funded, they are brainwashed by a very potent evil force and whatever. Anyway, so we're leaving, we've left the matrix, I believe, but we haven't come into the promised land yet. And it really, at the end of the day, I really believe it's up to each and every one of us. It's focus, ascension. We cannot depend on anyone to save us. We cannot, that's what got us into this trouble. We said, okay, let them do it. Government, I don't want to get so involved, and they did. They took over and they cheated us out of our birthright. That's another subject I do not want to get into, about birthright and yeah, I don't want to get into it. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's cool, man. We're good. God says, yeah, stay out of it. Okay, leave it for the real. I mean, there are real Torah scholars in the world. Y.Y. Jacobson, Manis Friedman. There's any number of really, Yossi Paltiel. I mean, his father, of course. I mean, and I don't even know, the Litvish world probably has their own set of great Torah scholars and prophets and this kind of thing. I don't know about prophets, but I mean, the Rebbe was for sure the prophet of the generation. But I do not include myself in there, in that cadre. I'm not part, like Y.Y. Jacobson is a brilliant Torah scholar, and I recommend that anyone who likes Torah Insights to check him out. He's online. Y.Y. Yosef Yitzhak Jacobson. He's I mean, he's got an understanding of kind of like a psychological viewpoint, a kind of a compassion and a rachmanis, a merciful approach to to Judaism that I think is very important. I mean, I think in all of our religions that mercy should be the key kind of focus, and that's it's not we do not need to be punished. We do not need to be called sinners by anyone or anything. Even even lizards should not be calling us sinners. Lizards should be um, they should go back to the Gitmo River, man, and just stay with their own kind. All right, just leave us alone. At any rate. I'm not sure what you're saying here, but whatever, man. Maybe you can explain this phrase. Oh, it's from Richard. Okay, where'd you see that in the Bible? Often said to me, and people say, "Oh, where'd you see that?" Oh, and you say in the Bible. Uh huh. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, let's venture into some intel. I mean, I think the fact that yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of this. This is part of the flood. Okay, this is part of the flood. There you go. Yeah, I like that, Gary. That Gary's always got a good hold on things. Um, no end. Oh, well, right. Well, 2050 was supposed to be the end of the 200. Remember, we learned yesterday that's the end of the 200-year period that started in 1850, where they reset the world and they built another. Um, not the White House, the Capitol, another Capitol building. There are four Capitol buildings underneath and all kinds of tunnels. Yeah, the rabbi speaks common. You're talking about YY? I mean, he's awesome, man. I love. I used to when I first came to Crown Heights, I used to sit and listen to him on Shabbos. He's before we really had internet like we do now. But the fact that you can get online and listen to somebody like Y.Y. Jacobson is just shows you what a gift the internet is, and the Rebbe was all about using the internet to do good. He says it could be used for evil, but it can be used for good. Yeah, he's great, man. Hey Mio, me also. Hey Mio. Let's see. Yeah, the judgment time thing, man. That's not for humans. At 50, yeah, maybe because we'll correct it. We'll whatever. Okay, so yeah. So anyway, so let's now venture into. I'm just going to look at this where the market's holding right now for 1 second. Okay, it's down 490 points. The Dow, and let's look at the airplanes. I could actually share. You know what? I could share this. I can get fancy on myself. Let's see. Screen. Oh, let me put it up first. Um, Okay, so go back to here. I'm going to do screen share and Okay, we share. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see the market. See gold is going up, and VIX. I don't know what that is. Oil is down also. Nasdaq, but it's down 400 points. Gold is up. Wow, gold's almost up to 2,000 now. Can you? Oh, now you can. We can both see it. Okay, let me see if I can go to here. No, let's see. How do I change this? Okay. Well, anyway, I don't know. Can you guys see this? I don't know if you can see it, but these are the military airplanes that are up today. So there's a lot of activity. This is all the planes, and this is the military planes. Okay. Could you guys see that? Yeah. I've always been loved doing my makeup and others just for fun. Yeah, Mio, it was so beautiful you doing the makeup. I really enjoyed that. Um, you're just like she's like poetry in motion, man. I mean, and I apologize if I was cranky last night. I was just like I just I was dealing with technical issues all day with Mike because I'm planning actually to you'll find out in a couple of days, but I'm planning to do a short traveling trip, and I hope to keep broadcasting as normally, but um, I'm taking it on the road for a couple of days, but you'll find out that'll happen soon. And in the meantime, so there are a lot of planes up over America and over Europe. There's a lot of threats going back and forth. Russia is telling England if any NATO soldiers act up, we're going to just take you out with a 1,000-foot tidal wave. I mean, they don't mess around, man. And I think they're serious, and I think the deep state ought to take it pretty seriously because Russia's doing the dirty work, man, for humanity right now, and I'm sure they're getting a little tired, man. It's not pretty. Okay, so anyway, let's venture into the Intel. Let's go see what's going on in the Intel channels. When you see what's going on with the market, now I'm going to go up like this, go over here. Okay, wow. Okay, here we go. So everybody happy? Everybody buckled up? We got 502 peeps, man. Everybody who's listening, thank God. Thanks for coming. Man, we can do this. This is, I mean, we are coming into a splendid, splendorous period. We're coming into the promised land. We're not there yet, but we're heading that in that direction, I believe. And it's all good. I mean, if I really thought about the fact that I'm talking to 500 people right now, I would probably not be able to do this. I can't, I'm not smart enough to really understand what I'm doing. So that's kind of like how I can pull this off because like I said, if I look somewhat, maybe I look like I'm a brave person, but in actuality, if you met me one on one, you'd see I'd be like, oh, that's not true. I'm sometimes anyway. All right, so here we go. So now we're on. Let's see what this is. What new intel has come up. I'm just going straight to. I should check. Swiss credit down 30%. Banks are crashing. All right, that's on whale chart. I'm just going to check in with my buddy Gila. Are you there, Gila? I just let's see. Okay, here we go. This is about. I think this is still about Durham, right? Behind the scenes retribution for. Yeah, Durham. Okay, so we've gone through that. I'm not going to touch. Let me just briefly see what Whiplash is up to. Simba Chain, he's just selling a bunch of cryptos, which is cool. I got nothing against Whiplash, man. I mean, we each bring different things to the table. We've gone through this whole thing about 383. Okay, so 316. Okay, so we're at 3:15, right? So 3:15, let's just go to this calendar briefly. 3:15, beware the Ides of March. London Tube and National Rail strikes start today. Happy birthday, China, Russia, Iran, and other countries to hold joint naval. Happy birthday to Doge token. This is separate. China, Russia, Iran, and other countries to hold joint naval exercises in the Gulf of Oman on March 15th to 19th. Chinese Ministry of Defense. All major bank stocks are collapsing. Ethereum developers tomorrow, 3:16. Ethereum developers will meet for their bi-weekly call on Thursday to ink in the date for the Shanghai upgrade. Okay. 3:17, they FOOKED. Red October nuke standoff over. Mr. Poole, Orthodox Easter eggs, two jokers, worlds collide post evacuation day, March 17th, 1775. 17th anniversary for V for Vendetta. How amazing is that? On 3/17. So you know V for Vendetta was the book that they use. And again, my brother was a professional spy, and he told me they always use books. They use spy novels to, so V for Vendetta, they use, that's how they communicate with each other. 3/20, 21-day ends, Evergrande liquidation court, Binance buys Voyager, Swift, and EBA ISO 222 deadline, Evergrande, George Soros completed many projects from Europe, Canada, and Australia. Australia, Canada, and New Zealand are going live March 20th. 3/21, that's next week. We'll deal with that later, but it says Paris Blockchain Week, Stellar major sponsor. AZ Supreme Court agrees to expedite Carrie Lake's selection lawsuit. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. That's my friend Whip, my good buddy. And now we go to, we have to agree to disagree. There was a high intensity of Israeli jet activity recorded over northern Israel. No idea what that's about. In air we speak. Guess who has a peace treaty with Israel? And Israel is in the Abraham Accords agreement established by whom? 45. So who has a peace agreement with Israel? I don't know. Thought I may add the FAA buildings are still fenced in with barbed wire and concrete barriers and still in place. Not sure why, but the flags have been removed from the FAA building. I'm not even sure what FAA is, but somebody can tell me what FAA is. Some government building. Okay, here we go. Therefore, do not worry, saying, this is New Testament stuff. What shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? After all these things, I'm not going to read this because they're putting down Gentiles, in the New Testament. I'm like, whoa, man, that's out of my pay grade. David Sachs, it's not about SVB anymore. It's about the 20 banks and the cascade that comes next. Remember, on Thursday, it was just SVB. Friday, it was Signature. Over the weekend, it was 3 or 4 more. And now it's up to 20. Do you know what's smiling right now? Who's smiling right now? Jamie Dimon. Why would Jamie Dimon be smiling? I don't know. Do you know where all these deposits are going from these regional banks? They are flooding into the top 4 banks. They're flooding into JP Morgan Chase, which is too big to fail. Thanks to the bailout in 2008, which we all have problems with. He is too big to fail. And so the logical response for everybody is to go to the big four banks. Why would you do anything differently? If the Fed is not clear that your deposits are safe, if you have any doubts about it, if there is a 1% chance that you might lose your money, why wouldn't you go to a big, too big to fail bank? This is the problem. So everyone's pulling out of their regular banks and going into Chase. Oh, Gila, thank you, Gila. Gila's listening, so she's just letting me know. It's Gila. You know how I feel. Anyway, European stock slide 2.4%. I just have to. I got a text from my boy also. I just have to respond. He's such a sweetheart. My mother said to me today, she says, he wants to be an accountant. She says, can you imagine your son wants to be an accountant? I mean, my mother knows me, and she's like, it's pretty out there, man. I mean, she had to deal with me. It was not a pretty picture, man, being my mother. I'm sure there were a lot of very interesting chills and thrills raising me. Okay, stocks slide 2.4%. We knew that. Stocks, okay, markets. So European stock markets were sharply lower Wednesday, stuck in the negative, index down. Okay, European markets, ticker company price change. I don't know what any of this means. Stocks plunged 6.7%, followed by the energy sector, which was down 5.8%. Several bank stocks, including Credit Suisse, were temporarily halted from trading during the morning due to the steep losses. Deutsche Bank, Societe Generale, Commerzbank, and UBS declined to comment. Okay, so there's a new thing. March 15th in history. March 15th is a notorious reputation. Julius Caesar was assassinated. On today, in 44 BC, the last Tsar of Russia, Nicholas, fell ill, and he left the throne at the Ides of March. In 1917, the World Health Organization announced the deadly SARS outbreak on March 15th. March 15th, 1972, The Godfather, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, debuted in 5 cinemas in New York City and would set a record which stood until 1975 for the highest grossing film in history, taking in $87 million on its first release. Okay, so a lot happened on the 15th. Okay, we read all these. Alert: global markets have been rattled by the collapse of the tech sector, lenders, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature. If Credit Suisse or Wells Fargo collapse, then that will have extraordinary ramifications. A bank like SVB or Signature poses more symptomatic risk, but not as much systematic risk as likely to occur in the fallout of the larger banks. Either one of these would have the power to start a full collapse of the banks-based financial system. Full stop. So, I could be totally wrong about this, that we have to wait until the election. I mean, it at the very least, things are going to get very interesting. Very least. I mean, now is the quantum financial system going to just kick into place? I don't know. I really don't know. I think that was the argument between the Patriots, between Mel and Captain Kyle and 107 was The time factor. 107 kind of saying, well, these things, you can't just like people are just waking up. They don't even know, they're waking up. They didn't even know they were asleep. They were dreaming. Thanks. I'm brave. I don't know if I'm brave, man. Maybe, 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 just hapless, just too dumb to know what I'm stepping into. But anyway, Khan's supporters clash with Pakistani police outside of the PM's residence. This should be a bigger story everywhere. The three-letter agency that starts with C toppled former Prime Minister Imran Khan because he opposed the U.S. drone campaign operating inside Pakistan. And today, the army attacked his home and moved to arrest him to prevent his participation in the upcoming elections. So I don't know. I really don't know what that means. But William J. Burns, the director of the three-letter agency that starts with C, recently visited Pakistan. During the visit, Burns had requested an audience with Khan, but was refused. Khan has reportedly said he will only talk to his counterpart, JB. The secret arrival of this guy, Burns, at such a crucial time is being seen as Washington's attempt to lobby Pakistan's powerful military. They're desperate. Noticing gas prices rising while oil drops, appears that the dudes are in a desperate grab for cash at the pumps. Man, they're out of money. Man, their banks are crashing. They're in big trouble. Oil falls to a 3-month low on inflation worries. U.S. banks shut down. It's all coming. It's all happening, guys. Gila, it's happening, man. I think you're right, man. I keep saying it's going to be a while, but Gila's like, no, it's got to happen right away. And Gila, I hope you win. Okay, stock market news down. SVB down. Okay, we all know this. We got a first-hand Major Freddie channel today. I don't know who Major Freddie is. Foreign minister at a meeting of foreign affairs on the Syrian Arab Republic. Apart from bilateral cooperation, regional and international subjects stand at the top of the agenda. We see the situation in the region is changing, primarily in terms of the restoration of Syria's rights in the Arab League. You are aware of the initiatives for collective security in the Persian Gulf and the region around this key area, which we have been promoting for years with the support of the Syrian Friends and other Arab countries. I believe that this is also creating favorable conditions for promoting a political settlement in Syria. We will work towards fair agreements based on UN Security Council Resolution 2254. Where did Mr. Poole go? Description and location is gone. Mr. Poole update. All right, I don't know what that's about. I don't really understand Mr. Poole. Evergrande subsidiary lays off almost all employees. That their subsidiary NEVS. The lights threaten to go out at National Electric Vehicles of Sweden, the Swedish electric car subsidiary of the Chinese real estate group. So they're going down. Evergrande. Okay, I think we really need to take the phrase, it's going to be biblical, as a huge marker. You have more than you know. We have more than you know. Yeah, I think it's definitely biblical to me, man. I mean, Julius Caesar in 44 BC is stabbed to death. All right, maybe, who knows? Dow plunges 600 points as BlackRock chief warns SVB collapse, merely the first domino to drop. Key facts: the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped 580 points or 1.8% in futures trading, a pace for its third largest daily loss of 2023. The domestic losses come amid broad declines in stocks abroad. After stoking concerns about the bailout of Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and Silvergate Capital, recent closure was a bleak from BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, warning the failures could simply be the first dominoes. Okay, so when Larry Fink says this is the first dominoes, man, you better get in the lifeboats. I mean, it's like, come on, man, Larry, really? These guys, they're such, you got to love these guys, man. I mean, they just, I mean, you think, I mean, like that stock market report that I show you, that is the most left-leaning stock report, and they're just completely always telling people to do the opposite of the right thing. It's like, oh yeah, this is a really good time. This is a good time to really stock up on, bank stock. I mean, they're just like, they're relentlessly anti, profit for regular folks like you and me. Live stocks sink amid Credit Suisse turmoil. A lot of cargo activity to the West Coast this morning. Okay, here, this looks interesting. Remember, it is important to stay alert in the coming days, but always remain calm. That's really important. Yes, yes, yes. You are ready. You have this. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. See, we have this. Prime Minister Netanyahu will cut short his visit to Berlin due to the high alert of Israeli army. Netanyahu is heading to Berlin today, will return earlier than expected. I don't really think it's BB anymore. I think they took BB out. Just my opinion. The 17-team trust sessions, still or nay? What is Fox saying McCabe will skate? Why is Fox saying McCabe will skate? Trust the plan, full control. China, Russia, Iran hold joint military drill. We did that already. More and more will be dropping about Dr. F and his ouchie. Yeah, he's, this is part of the storm. All this information is going to come out. The more they are beaten, the lower they bend and smile wider. Putin said that the Europeans have lost the independence gene. The more they are beaten, the lower they bend and smile wider. Okay. Okay, here. This is interesting. China, Russia deploying space weapons to attack U.S. satellites, warns Space Force chief. Military has deployed 347 satellites, including 35 launched in the past 6 months, to target U.S. forces in a future conflict, the commander of the Space Force told a Senate hearing on Tuesday. To target forces? To target U.S. forces in a future conflict? General B. Chance Saltzman said Russia is also testing and deploying orbital anti-satellite weapons, extensive cyber capabilities, and land-based anti-satellite missiles, electronic jammers, and lasers. More advanced space warfare weapons pose the most immediate threat to attacks in space, while less capable Russian space assets also pose an acute threat of attacks or disruptions on U.S. satellites. Both are intent on targeting perceived U.S. vulnerabilities and eliminating American advantage in the space domain, the four-star general told a Senate Armed Services Subcommittee on Strategic Forces hearing Tuesday. Both expect space to be a key to future warfare by enabling long-range precision strikes. Both seek information. Okay, so yeah, it's all going to be in space. All right, yeah. Let's see, anything else? President Assad, who is in Moscow on a working visit, laid flowers to the tomb of the unknown soldier at the Kremlin wall. Sky ice. Antarctica, and that is a piece of sky ice from the firmament. Sky ice, wow. Traffic on Kiri Pine in California and downtown San Francisco is being redirected around the tower of 555 California. A witness described a window pane being blown off the 43rd floor. This is from David Schwartz. Guess where I was today? And he sent a piece of blue ice from Antarctica. What a zany world we're in, right? David Schwartz in Antarctica. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. Right, Rush? You cannot make this stuff up. For my formerly nicotine-stained fingers, Rush, I listened to every word, man. I love you. I loved you. I still love you. You're probably like sitting there. Well, maybe you're listening. I don't know. But anyway, WrestleMania, Hollywood. I don't know what that is. Stellar is a goodbye in 2023. Is stellar. I mean, what can I say? I'm a big Stellar fan. I mean, I've been buying Stellar for years, for like three or 4 years already, probably. Yes, yeah. I also was a big XRP fan, but I bought a bunch of XRP before they took it off the market, but then it got stolen. So what can you do, man? Live and learn, right? It's okay. I consider it a gift from God that it was stolen. ISO 2022 and ISO 22 is now imminent with a go live in just 10 days. Are you ready for this essential transformational change? After the delayed November 2022 launch for the update, the new date of this new standard of financial message is looming. March 20th is the now go live date for ISO 222. There's been much noise in the banking sector about it. However, the question remains, is the industry ready for this redefinition of messaging in the payment ecosystem? An investigation paper from Kellant has found that 63% of large banks believe they will be prepared by November 2025. However, 25% say they will need help to meet the deadline or rely on available stopgap measures. Even more worrying, only 3% of corporates expect banks to be 100% ready. Well, that makes me feel good, man. The coexistence period from March 2023 through November 2025 to allow banks time to adopt. Yeah, I mean, really, man, if it was us, how long would they give us to adapt, right? They'd be like, you better know by next Friday, man, or you're out. I mean, the banks get till 2025. I don't get it. Said issues with him not recorded. Yeah, I saw the second part of the Captain Kyle interview. I mean, I don't know, whatever. I just We have to be careful. We have to be careful. We have to know our limitations as reporters. I mean, you guys are saying I'm so humble. It's not that I'm, it's just because I know, like who am I? Who is anybody? At this point, nobody really knows what the heck's going on. I mean, so if you're feeling like, well, it's going to be this way and everything is, and it's going to be XRP and it's going to be, gold back and by next Tuesday and we're going to be flying around in cars. That's what Juan is saying. He says it ain't going to be like that, man. I mean, yeah, it could be part of it, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Time is on my side. Oh, yes, it is. Right? Stones, man. I grew up with the Stones. I'm with Gila. It's happening right now under our noses. Yes, you're right, Gila. Gila, listen, Gila. Don't start with me, Gila. You know how I feel. I mean, we go through this all the time together. She's I would love for Gila to be right. I think, it could happen. The EBS could happen tomorrow. Everybody wakes up. We're all, out on the street with flags, waving flags. I would love that. Yeah, Gila's amazing. I can't think about Gila. I can't broadcast. I can't hold her in my mind and think at the same time. Anyway, yeah, Gila's amazing. So, yeah, let's okay. So I think, Swiss Credit Bank down. I think I'm gonna have to get out early. Suspicious object discovered beneath Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Oh, really? Yeah. So, by Danish investigators, it could be an explosive device pointing the finger at the U.S. You think the bad guys could have done that? Unbelievable, man. Okay, let's read that. This looks interesting. I can't stress enough that we need to be ready for some very bumpy roads that lay ahead. Did you grab some cash out of bank? I can't read this again. We know this, man. Speaking of 17 drops, there are 26 details for March 15th. Beware the Ides of March. I mean, look, the market's crashing. The matrix is dying in front of our eyes. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Gila. I mean, the matrix is crashing. But like I said in today's video that you guys haven't heard, it hasn't even been edited. I just put it in, is that we are leaving the matrix. The matrix is being destroyed. Egypt is in shambles. They're in the plague of the firstborn right now, literally on this, until Passover, until the night of Passover, when the firstborn are actually killed, and that's on April 5th. We are in the plague of the firstborn. That means a civil war between the bad guys. They're all, they always want us to fight against each other. Now they're going to be fighting each other. You see that little Adam Pencil Neck is implicated in in some serious crimes against humanity. So this is the plague of the firstborn. We're coming into the last stages of leaving the matrix, and then. So I'm agreeing with Gila. I'm with Gila. But we are leaving the matrix 100%, and we're finishing the book of Exodus right now. The Jewish people are in the last chapter of the book of Exodus. And then we go into Leviticus for a while. And we talk about the temple and making sacrifices and all that. And then we go through 40 years in the Midbar, in the desert, in the wilderness. So that's, we are leaving the matrix for 100% sure, but we haven't come into the promised land yet. We're heading for the promised land. And remember, the Rebbe said, Makda Yisrael, make this Israel, make this the promised land. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make any airplane reservations. I did that. I feel like such a grown-up, man. I actually made airplane reservations this week and booked a hotel. You can't, you think I'm a competent person, man? You know how much anxiety that created? I'm like, what if I press the wrong button? And I was like, I'll end up registering at the wrong hotel. I'll be in the wrong state. I mean, this is the kind of stuff like, if I, anyway, so yeah, I got through it, man. I was really proud of myself. It took me hours. It took me hours. I know other people, you just book a flight. Well, I haven't been traveling many years because when they had the travel restriction, I just said, I'm not traveling. But, yeah. So anyway, we got this. Yeah, we won. We just, and if you look at SGAnon's thing from yesterday, the 44 file 44, excellent thing. Just you are the one, man. I've been saying this. I don't know how I know this stuff. Listen, I don't know. I'm not such a smart guy. I don't know how I know this stuff. I just know it. I really think that it's not even like me, but I've been saying this stuff for years now. Where does it come from? I have no idea. Um, like I went to Columbia. You think I learned anything at Columbia? I just learned what a mess the world was at Columbia. I learned like these people are in charge. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to mention names. I had a professor named Susan. She had a lock of white hair. I mean, I was suspect because I was a Jewish kid from the suburbs. So they were just like, what could you possibly have to say? And they're right. In their world, I have nothing to say, man. I didn't have, like weird sexual things going on, or I wasn't from a foreign country or a third world country. In those days, it was anyway. I'm sorry. I don't know how I got off on that. Fleetwood Mac, yeah. Right. The Holy Roman Empire still exists. Yeah, I would go with that. I think you're right. Yeah. But actually, you know what? It's not even the Holy Roman Empire. It's the lizard people. It's the Dracos. They're the ones who are behind all this nonsense. And if you don't believe it, if you want to be parv like my friend Doorknob, that's okay, man. You don't have to believe it. I do. Gila does, and I don't know what my son thinks about it. I think he's just like, I'm an accountant, man. He's like, I don't know how I got stuck with this father. It's just that's the way it is, man. I mean, my father probably thought the same thing of me. He's like, how did I get this guy, man? He's like, he's all over the place. I'm a dentist, for God's sakes. Except my father's pretty zany, man. He was definitely not your typical, run of the mill suburban dude. I mean, but anyway, yeah, we waited 2 years for this. Absolutely. Yeah, it's awesome news. It really is awesome. Finally, finally the markets crashed. So yeah, that's really important. Wait a minute, where did that go? Yeah, Karen, I'm highlighting your thing. Let's celebrate. Let's be happy. Let's just realize the market is crashing today, man. The deep state is done. The matrix is imploding, just like it's right out of the Old Testament. At the exact same time, we're getting ready for Passover, and the firstborn are having a civil war with themselves. This is considered the greatest of all plagues because the enemy is destroying themselves. And remember, evil destroys itself in the end because they don't really exist. They don't have anything positive. They don't have anything that they're about. They only have stuff they're against, right? We have stuff we're about. We are going to be fruitful and multiply. We're set up for this. Anyway, I got to get off because I have a couple. I'm going to be doing an interview at 1:00 with Shifra, who unbeknownst to me, is like a famous Jewish personage, and I have this chus to get to do an interview with her and get to hang out with her for a little while. I don't know if we're going to do it live or recorded. Depends how I think she knows all the rules. I think it'll probably be. We might go live, so that's at 1:00. At 3:30, I'm meeting with Danielle, either 3 or 3:30, to talk about ASEA, and we're planning to go to a conference next week. So that's very interesting. Anybody who's interested in developing business, I don't think it's too late. I don't think I could be wrong. Let's hope I'm wrong, and let's hope Lobster goes to the moon next week. And would that change anything? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Sky ice evaporates very, very slowly, you said? That's interesting. Sky ice very quickly. Huh. I mean, you know, Bank of America and JP Morgan to negotiate a purchase. Yeah, it could be. It could be misinformation, but listen, it makes sense to me that that we're not going to have flying cars next week. It just makes sense to me. All will be taken care of. No worries. Right, there are no worries, but that doesn't mean we can just sit back and relax. I believe that we should be fruitful and multiply and align with our divine purpose and do what brings us joy. Whatever brings you joy in life, go out and do it. This is going to be an amazing opportunity. All you people that still have like one arm in the matrix and one arm on Mars or wherever, pretty soon you're going to be like, I'm out. I got that last arm out. I'm out of the matrix completely. We're all coming out of the matrix right now, and we're going to be heading for the promised land, I think, very soon. So, yeah, we should let's celebrate. Let's celebrate the fact that the evil banksters are going down and be happy. I can't stress enough the need to be some bumpy roads, but that we should breathe deeply, beware. Okay. All right. So I will see you guys in an hour. I'll be back with Shifra, and we're going to talk about maybe some Jewish issues. I'm not sure. And then at 3:30, I'm going to talk with Danielle, my mentor, my coach in the ASEA business, and then we'll have our regular 7:45 meeting, God willing, and hopefully the microphone will work. I think I figured out what was wrong with it. It's a weird thing. Buy silver, yeah, it's a good time to buy silver. It's a good time to buy a lot of things. And I talked to my main metals guy yesterday. I said, "Man, what's up?" He's like, oh, he's like, Ellie. He's like, I said, "You must be king of the world." He says, "Oh, I don't know, man." He says, I'm, I'm trying to help a lot of people." That's what he said. I expected him to be like, "Wow, man, I'm selling like tons of silver," but he was like, oh, he was just like, "Yeah, we're helping a lot of people." All right, so yeah, I do believe. Yeah, keep telling him. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I do listen to Gila. I mean Gila's Gila and I we're so we don't even know who we are, but somehow we found each other in this weird matrix of a world. Use gematria and decode his name. JFK is hiding in witness protection. Yeah, we've been waiting for this. We want this. Okay, so you guys are feeling good. Yeah, this whole like Jesus bloodline thing just doesn't really resonate with me. But I'm not saying that it's not real or it could be real to some people, but it's going to be a little problematic for Jewish folks. But if we can agree to disagree on these things, man, well, I think we'll have a beautiful world moving forward. Yeah, Tiff, man, I agree with that. Okay, so I'll see you in a little while. Got to go meet with Benet, and then we'll be back at 1 o'clock and at 3:30, and try to grab some food in between. I know I made a big bowl of rice. I made 3 cups. I used 3 cups of rice. That's 6 cups of water. So I made rice for the whole week. I had rice for breakfast with blueberries and yogurt. It was delicious, man. I love rice. I think I'm like secretly Chinese or something. I mean, or Indian. I mean, it's it's like my son is hooked on oatmeal, but I'm like, I can't wrap my mind around oatmeal. But rice, man, rice for breakfast, so good. Like I was always a rice pudding tapioca kind of guy. Mom made tapioca pudding. It was just like, wow, this stuff is great. All right, guys, we'll see you in a little while. And QFS is a place. It'll be announced after the global collapse. Yeah, and we'll all be rich, and we'll never have to worry again. And we'll sail off into the sunset, and I'll get to cozy up to some, I get to relax on the beach. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's all good, guys. We got this, and I'll see you in a couple. I'll see you soon. God bless. How do I get out of this mess? I don't even know. There we